Alright, this is the last part for doing this painting from a reference. So I've got the photo that I'm using as the reference for the painting next to the painting. And I'm going to emphasize a little now, a little bit more detail, improve on some of the colors, and then throw in some of the darkest darks and lightest lights accents and call this finished. Now, of course, I want to make the point, what I'm finishing in this video, often this will sit around a week or two, and then I'll put it back on the easel and do a little more, or I'll give an idea of how I can improve it and just do a little more. So, just like with the bonsai in my other videos, where they're never totally ever done, some would say, oh, when it's finished, but in a sense, you could take the other approach and know that, a painting can always have more work done if you have an idea of how to improve it. And as your skills improve, if you're not happy with the painting, don't throw it away, don't just scrape over it. If you like the image, don't go and just, put stuff over it and start a new painting. Save that, and then as your skills improve, you can put it back and actually use what you have as a basic reference and then go from there. As I said, each step you go, you're refining as you go. You don't need to start out and have everything just right. You don't have to have the perspective perfect. You don't have to have colors just right, and even the shapes. And our goal, at least with me, some people, I give them credit when they have the skills to make something meticulously look like a photo that they paint. But to me, I don't see the point in that. Then I would just become a photographer. So I like to take an image, have my take on it, and hopefully paint it in a way that you get a feeling or impression that would make you like to hang it on your wall. All right. So when I'm done this video, this isn't necessarily done, but it might be. Sometimes you get in that flow and something turns out way awesome and comes out great pretty quickly, and other times it's back and forth and fussing and to make it good. You often hear about overworking a painting. There's truth to that too, especially if you're doing overworking a painting while it's wet. A lot of people do alla prima, and I do that sometimes too, where you do all in one sitting, you do the painting, and that can be fun too, and that'll be another video we do at another time. This is for when you start out, this step-by-step process that you can kind of, you go get the canvas ready, having your materials, you get your sketch done, and then you put a sense on the canvas of the lights and darks and have a sense of the values and make sure the composition look good with the basic shapes and the values, that you have some contrast and interesting composition that you think somebody would really enjoy focusing on. Just like with this composition, you can see a lot of the shapes come down, point to this area here. And so this, if you follow the rule of thirds, if you divide it into third this way and third this way, these corners would be, you'd pick one of those corners to be like your focal point, or not exactly that corner, but in that general area. So this will be highlighted. I like to imagine, people want to imagine going up this path through this village, and they wonder what's down that path further, and that's kind of the idea of this painting. So this I'll have some strong contrasts and maybe some sharper edges around here, and on the outside looser, especially towards the background. To make depth in a painting, you often will keep the background looser and slightly grayer or bluer, because there's more atmosphere between the viewer, to give that sense of that it sits back. And then the stuff up in front, will be a little more detailed, clearer, the colors maybe a little bit on the warmer sense, and less blue, and work back. All right, so that's what we'll do now. I've still got my primary palette here. Now I'll be honest, I'm tempted, because of some of the colors I see in the photo, to put some of the other colors on my palette, like instead of not just ultramarine, but I could put like cerulean blue, and then with the cool red I have, the rose red, I could also put like a vermilion, like a warmer red. I could, along with the yellow, I could put like a yellow ochre, you know, and get a little more nuance, which, you know, at the end of this video I might do, or I might do after I'm done the video. But I wanted to make these reference videos have to do with you being a beginner and just having the step-by-step process of the approach. And just know that even if, you know, I get this, you add up my video time and a little bit of extra time besides that, maybe add another hour to the video time, and you figure, well, that's how long it took me to make the painting. There are some artists that can do it way quicker, but when I first started, it would take me days, you know, much longer than it does now. You know, I've been painting for, you know, less than 3 years. So I'm pretty happy with what I've accomplished. Again, you can check my website, Dave Collum, COLLOM.com, and check out my artwork. All right, so let's get started. Let's see, I want to go in and make some of these colors a little more interesting, the blues and the greens that I see, and the reds. So I'm going to do a little bit of that. Now I'm not adding thinner to the paint. I did dip my brush in just to get it slightly wet, but I'm patting it off on a paper towel. I'm basically just going to use straight paint. And at the very end of this process, I might go ahead and use some medium. I don't know. We'll see if I need to. But for now, let's see. Let's make some of these reds a little more vibrant, especially the ones that are closer, that you would see better, you know, and they can kind of fade as they go back to give that sense of depth. So this is a little redder. These are, I guess, the Chinese lanterns, kind of hanging on this. I'm not worrying about making it exactly like it is in the photo, the exact shape. This is meant to be kind of a loose painting. It's not meant to be highly detailed and like a photo, or even, you know. And who knows, during this process I might decide to throw something in there that's not in the photo at all. I mean, I don't know. A little bit more here, but not much. All right, and then now this is even closer, it's almost the same as this, but a little closer. So let's make that a little more vibrant. I'm actually going to add a hint of yellow to that, make it almost like a slight warmer. You know, the yellow makes it warmer. Just a little closer. Might even put a little bit of that color in here. Okay. All right. Now we've got some cool reds. Add a hint of blue to the red. And just put some fake lettering on these windows. Just little blobs to. I'm not going to go in there and make the actual letters. You know, the idea isn't to study, you know, Chinese writing. Let's see, anywhere else? Alright, now under those fans, almost looks a little green. There's a little thing that hangs down from the center of them. So I'm going to mix kind of some ultramarine blue, a little bit of the yellow, make it like a dark green. but it's almost like a tan, like a muddy green. So I'm gonna make the green. Hint of the umber that I have, and I'm going to try to add that. Let's see what it looks like here. There we go. All right. Maybe. All right. Let's see. We have some lighter colors over in here. I'm not quite happy with that. I want to add a hint of yellow to a hint of umber. Make it a little lighter, more interesting. So, there we go. It's going to be. There, and then maybe some of that's under here. It's like a wood color. All right, let's see anywhere else. Maybe a little bit up here on the roof. It's a little lighter color. Just kind of keep that loose. Alright, maybe blotch some of that color down in, because there's rocks down here. Notice I'm still doing things loosely. I'm looking for similar colors in the painting where I see like a hints of that color. Because that's almost like a dirt color that's on there. Alright. Alright, now let's see. Let's do some of this background here, this green. But I'm going to make a lighter green, but then add some more blue. Because remember, it sits back, and then maybe a little white to lighten it. Give a little more atmosphere. See, there's the green that's kind of dark. It's a little bit more yellow. And then now I'm going to add, I don't want to add too much yellow, like I said. I want to keep it cooler, bluer. So I'm going to add a little white to that. That's too light, so I'm going to add more blue. There we go. That's probably better. Let's see what that is. So. This is some green in the background, but I still think it's too warm, so I'm going to cool it down even more. Make this almost like a blue green. I'm just putting some of this on there anyway, just to see what kind of effect it has. All right. Alright, let me add a little bit more blue. First I'm going to take some blue and add some white to it. Make a very light blue. that to that green. So this will be almost like a blue. I'm going to kind of temper that color down. I just don't want to make it too blue because I don't want it to look like sky, because actually that's a hill behind the building. I mean, you could just turn it into sky if you like the idea of having some sky in your painting. Why not? It's all up to you. It's your painting. And then farther back, even bluer back here. Let's see. So I'm going to rinse my brush, wipe it out a little bit, and I'm going to kind of blot this to soften it even more. I don't want that to be harsh. I want it to be kind of a soft effect up here. Fix my edge here a little bit. It's a little off. So let's, okay. All right, we got green grass up in the front here some. Now that, I like the lighter green that I had, and not use blue in that. Well, enough blue to make it a green, but not emphasize blue. It can almost be yellowish, a yellowish green. Let's see what color this turns out to be. Oh, still could be more yellow. Let's see this. Yeah, see that's a little hint of white just to bring out the, lighten it a little bit. There we go. Let's try this. Yeah, that's better. Much lighter green, warmer. Bring this ground a little up front more. Got it down in here, mixed in with some rocks. Again, I'm just kind of keeping things loose. I'm not holding it like a pencil, going in small detail. I'm holding the brush back further, and just the brush is smaller for detail, but still keeping it loose. Okay, let's see. Got a little hints of some grass in here. I'm not gonna push hard here because it's shadow, so it needs to be darker. Let's see here, a little bit here. Very lightly touching a little bit of that. There we go. All right, and some more over on this side. Okay. I'm actually going to take a little more, make it even more yellow, just to throw in, well, I'm going to have to put some more yellow on my palette. Now, yeah, I know I got a shadow on there, don't I? I'm going to stop the video a second, see if I can get the lighting so I don't put a shadow on my... Okay, I've got yellow on my palette, and I think I'm not putting a shadow on the painting. So let's continue onward. A little bit more yellow. I'll mix it a little bit with that green, keeping it very light. And I'm just going to highlight some spots in the grass with a little bit of yellow. You know, where you can imagine some lights. Maybe some lights hitting it. Okay. All right, now we got trees up in here. That's a green. The green's back to not too yellow, but put some lighter green. I have shadows from put them when I did my grayscale for the leaves, but let's throw, just kind of blotching some, as if the light's hitting the trees some. Now I'm going to put some darker greens in there too. Add a little more blue. Let's see. And then in the shadows, since it's a blue or green I have on my brush now, I can put a little bit of that down in here. And look for little darker spots in the lighter grass here. Now some of these greens and blues over here, there's even a hint of blue, I think, in the shadow of the window. So I'm gonna mix some white and ultramarine blue, make a very whitish kind of hint of a blue. Just kind of, let's make it even bluer. Let's kind of do this. I can even work back in where my trees are. And then we have hints even in the light part. It looks slightly blue. So I'm going to do some of that. A little bit on some of these rocks. And the light's hitting the rocks. Over here. Alright, let's see, maybe a little bluer down here. Okay, now let's work on the blue on the signs over here. We got like it's not as light of a blue. This is more. All right, so let's see. Let's go a little wider. Alright, maybe a little hint of blue over here. Alright, let's rinse. Let's work on the greens here again. Okay, but that's kind of like a different kind of green. Now, you know, if this wasn't for the training period, I would have the warm and cool versions of my primaries. But it's starting out. It's better to really keep it as simple as possible. Just you get down all the basics of values and mixing the primaries together to make other colors. You know, look at color wheel and know that you know, when you mix the opposite side, the complementary colors on the color wheel, that you get a grayer version, you know, and you learn how to make your secondaries from the primaries and then your tertiaries from the other colors. All right, let's see what kind of green we get here. Yeah, it's too dark. A little bit more white. Let's see what we get here. Let's see, I think we're going to get green on the edge. Let's see. Alright. It's a different green. I could throw a little bit of that in there. Add some variety. Let's see. I want to add a little white on my brush. Maybe let it be influenced a little bit by the blue and green, but make it very white. And do some of these highlights in these windows. Let's see. White right on the back shirt. White, I'm gonna make the lighter up top here so there's more light hitting it. Now I want to add some yellow to just white to lighten. And this is where I might actually put a little bit of my blending and glazing medium on my palette and touch my brush into that, just so I don't totally cover what's underneath it. Let's see, find a good spot. There we go. Brush in that, I'll mix some yellow and some white. And I'm just going to kind of go over all this. Oh, a little more white. That's it. There's probably some more light hanging in it, I'm just making it a little lighter. you want more contrast, you can see what I did there. Let's see, maybe a little bit, some of that on the white of these signs that are closer. A little more light hits that. Okay. Let's see. A little bit of this. A little whiter on the rocks over here. Get a little interest. Some lighter spots in there. Same here. Okay. All right, let's see. Maybe some lighter spots on this roof. Okay, let's see. Now I want to go in, let's maybe do a little detail work. People here and here. So, let's see. Let's do hair here. Imagine these people are, either it's their hair, or they're wearing, hats. This lady's sitting on a chair. Make that wood a little lighter. I'm not really worried about making it look like a chair, but people can imagine it's a chair. see, let's look around. Any hints of similar color. All right, we've got the wood over here. Let's see. All right, I'm gonna go back into my black, go darkest darks, make sure that's, you don't lose that contrast, the dark. That's part of the interest here. All right, let's see here. Let's see. There's some darker spots in here in the rocks. Here, under here. Put some spots in here. Okay. Okay, I'm going to mix it like a purple and mix it in with my black. If I put a hint of yellow in the white, if I put a hint of purple in the black, yellow and purple are complementary because there's some more contrast. So when I redo some black here, make a little more of that. Okay, that'll create more interest. see, maybe some of the darks in here we can go over again. All right, so. All right, let's see, anything else? Now I'm gonna do the strongest highlights. I'm actually gonna have a little fun and use my palette knife. I'm gonna take some white. Let's see. It's got a hint of the other colors in it, but it's mostly white. I'm just gonna kind of drag it. Drag it across here. Where I imagine more light hitting it. Right there. Let's see. You use my finger. Should wear gloves if you're going to do this, but. All right, so let's see. Make the lady shirt a little wider. Let's see. All right. I'm looking. Alright. Um, well, I'm going to call this done for this video, but I'll be honest. If this was something I was going to sell or whatever, I would probably, or even later just for my own use, I would probably do a little bit more highlighting and put some more contrast in. It still tends to be, my wife complains, says most of my paintings tend to stay on the dark side, but to be honest, I kind of like things on that way. But I've had remarks from other people saying the same thing. So throwing in maybe some more, well, you know what, I'm here, let me do that. I'm going to add a little of the cerulean blue. I'm going to add some yellow ochre and some vermilion red on my palette. Maybe I'll just do a couple little touch-ups quickly to see if that improves it. If not, then we'll stop there. These are the warmer versions of the primary. Let's see, where's my yellow ochre? There it is. The yellow ochre is almost like a golden brown. Much warmer version of the lemon yellow. Alright. If you were doing portraits, you know, having a yellow ochre and a vermilion with an ultramarine would probably be a better primary. Alright, let's see here. So I want to take a little of that yellow ochre, see if I can use the chair. I can get hints of the chair a little better. I'll probably lighten some of that hair. It's too much. There we go. Even the chair is too bright. There we go. Right. Gives a little bit more interest in there. Some of that up in here too. Alright. Let's see. I'm going to take this cerulean blue with a little white. Let's try that color. Let's throw some of that. I think that'll look good on this side. Yeah, see, that's a little more interesting looking. That blue. I made that sign too big, I think. Okay. Just kind of. Let's see. The other areas with that kind of a blue, maybe a little whiter. Yeah, like these areas here. bit back here and make that a little blur. It's fading. Okay. All right. All right. White. Let's just... All right. Okay. It's looking a little better. Darker spot on that side. I feel like I need to make some blacker blacks over here. And then I think I'm probably done. Just add a little bit more right here. Highlighting. Okay, my phone quit on me. It's back on. I did a little bit more after the my last take, just with the colors. So I wanted to show you what that looks like. So I'm calling this done for now. All right. In the comments on the video, please don't do too many comments about my video quality and editing. I'm well aware of what I need to do there. And when I have time, there's a lot going on in my life, so when I get a chance, I'll work on that. But for now, if you want to comment on the type of videos you would want, or if you want me to clarify things from these videos, or if you want to do alla prima, if you want to do anything specific, give me comments of what you would like to see on my channel, the type of tutorials, and I'll see what I can do. All right, thanks everybody, appreciate it. If you can, like and subscribe, appreciate it.